Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy GZTV. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not very proud of this mop that I have on my head. It's a fucking mess. I need to get that haircut soon. I probably will next time I'm home. As you guys can see, I am actually in the home stew right now. We're gonna hopefully get a couple Squid Game episodes watched for the weekend. But it's kind of interesting because now we're at the point in the show where they're kind of being formulaic, like they're following the same formula. Play, pause, play, like it's kind of following that same sort of thing. Sorry if I look at my phone a lot, that's where my notes are at. We're just gonna have a giant discussion. You guys know how these videos go. It's weird. This was an interesting episode, I'm not gonna lie to you, and with 2 episodes left in the season, we are starting game 3, which is very fucking strange. It's a weird tactic. We're just gonna see how it goes down. So yeah, man, let's get into it. This is probably gonna be a short video because it's a pretty simple episode. I mean, recapping this episode of Squid Game is a daunting prospect. Not because it's complicated, on the contrary, it's as simple as these things get. It's one of the more simple, one of the more straightforward episodes of the show we've gotten so far, and I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of it. The players play a game, the survivors take a vote, and then a break. They bond with each other, they start a new game, there are brief detours for the No-Wool and Junho side plots, the end. That's really all it is, and honestly, if this show keeps it up at this point, I'm not sure if this season's really going to shape out the way I was hoping it would. I think the first 3-4 episodes were really good, but now it seems like they are going through like this vicious cycle of doing the same things over and over, and not really adding any new plot twisting dynamics that the show has become so known for. No, I mean, the problem stems from how much of the energy of Squid Game is lost if you summarize it. I mean, the show really is as simple as it sounds above. The characters sound equally sketched out when you break them down in text form. The kindly old woman, the genial jarhead, the arrogant celebrity, the gentle trans woman, the surprisingly human villain, and so on. I found all their interactions compelling, but if I were to sum up their conversations without the benefit of the performances conveying them, they'd seem gossamer thin. And action-wise, what am I going to tell you about this episode? I mean, what happened here? Our heroes have to play children's games again. I mean, they show surprising strengths and weaknesses in doing so again. The perversely chipper soundtrack and sets make the graphic violence feel like a true violation again. Our heroes survive in a buzzer beater again. They vote themselves into disaster again. They spend the night fretting about the other players in the next game again. The game begins and then the credits roll again. You get it by now. Like, it seems very redundant. Again, the format of how they are doing these episodes lately seems like a lot of rinse and repeat, and again, there have been some aspects this season where it has been like a lot, like different things, different aspects, different dynamics, and very unique plot lines, and now it just seems like it's rinse and repeat. And while I certainly think humanity can stand to learn lessons about capitalism's destructive greed and murderous cruelty, in fictional form, I mean, I like to think we've learned plenty IRL, though some people never quite get it. I'm not sure the game is worth the candle, so to speak. Is Season 2 making any points that weren't made in a more novel way in Season 1, at least as effectively? Not from where I'm sitting. Again, it has been a decent season. There have been some decent dynamics, like I have said before, but overall the show is not doing a very good job of kind of differentiating itself. It's not doing a very good job in the grand scheme of things really adding new elements that weren't discussed in Season 1, new plot lines that weren't used in Season 1. Hasn't been a whole lot of that, if I'm being completely honest. I wouldn't say I'm like extremely disappointed in the season, it's just, what is this episode, man? So you see that when you sum it all up, it doesn't sound like much. And who knows, maybe it's not much when broken down. But Hwang dong-hyuk reminds me of the players trying to keep a jaggi, the Korean equivalent of a hacky sack, in the air. Like, he's trying to kind of balance the show. He's trying to make sure, yeah, we cement this capitalist kind of nature of the world and kind of teach this life lesson, but at the same time, you gotta go for some new shit, dude. Like, you gotta teach us some new things, you gotta bring in some maybe new characters. I don't know what you have to do at this point. It seems like the show's already overloaded with characters to begin with. As long as you're doing it well, something that's just a cheap little nothing when you hold it in your hands and look at it clearly becomes dazzling to see in action, but I just don't think we got that with this episode. Hwang writes and directs each game for maximum watchability. I mean, in his hands, a 6-legged race where you stop to spin a top at one point has the edge of your seat tension of the attack run on the first Death Star. He can cram in more heart-to-heart conversations between contestants after the game than Peter Jackson crammed endings into The Return of the King and make every one of them feel like it plumbs the depths of these damaged people. His camera makes the already massive and garish sets look even more so, providing a level of dystopian visual absurdity that's hard to find outside of certain other shows. And he knows how to get the most out of his cast, of course. Like, he knows how to get good performances. He gets Lee Jung-jae to revert to the hard-luck loser personality he had for most of Season 1 before the game hardened him, and it's like seeing an old friend. It's kind of crazy. Casting a cis male actor as a trans woman is a dubious proposition, but as written, Hyun-ju lays out the cost society exacts from trans people as the price of their liberation with the kind of clarity an audience as huge as this one won't get from this country's paper of record or its opposition party, to their great discredit. And actor Park Sung-hoon handles it as straightforwardly as possible. Kang Yi-shun's Gyum-ja is becoming the kindly heart of the season, of course. She's like the kind old woman with kind of like the wisdom, and all the players are kind of following up on that. So that's cool. Lee Byung-hun makes player 001, who gives himself the name Young-il, a fascinating presence. We know he's a liar and a killer, but we're not sure how much he's currently lying or how much he wants to get his teammates killed, so that's interesting. Like, again, the very subtle shots of player 001 coming on the screen and kind of giving these grins and these slight looks at Ji-hun, that makes for some fun television, because you know, like, something is going to kind of loop around and you kind of expect that. Actors can easily get lost in roles that require that much guesswork or the part of the audience, but Lee occasionally tricks you into thinking he's just one of the gang. Like, he's genuinely just a normal player. Like, he gets you to think that, and I think that's a great quality about him as an actor. It's a great quality in his character. So there's your recap of Squid Game. I know this video wasn't very long, as the players prepare to play Mingle, a game in the vein of musical chairs involving a big spinning platform and the lighting scheme of a carnival. I mean, it's setting up to be another kind of childlike game. It should be fun. Like, that game looks really interesting, and I have very high hopes for episode 6, because if I'm being honest with you, episode 5 really didn't give me much. A lot of filler, again, maybe some much needed relationship building, but at the end of the day, I didn't get a whole lot out of it. Lots of shows could have a plot like this, but it's all in the way you tell it. And it's kind of crazy, because this was an hour and 16 minutes of television, and you're telling me, I mean, we saw Ji-hun and them at the beginning, but that took like 15-20 minutes, and you're sitting here for the next 55 minutes to an hour building relationships between your characters, and not until the final 10 minutes of the episode you actually get into the next game, you start to get the implications and the hype starts to build up. It's a very interesting dynamic. It's a cool episode, and I don't know, I guess Jun-hee has a cool like pregnancy plot, and Thanos is beating the shit out of the celebrity that took his coin, but that's been harped on before. We know these things. These have already been kind of established. I don't know why we took 45 plus minutes to keep going here. And sure, this conversation up here is actually really dope and really awesome to note, but I'm pretty mixed on this episode. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it's one of my favorites of the season. It might be one of my least favorites. So with that being said, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I know this video is super short. That means I can get it edited out and to you guys quicker and get into the next episode. So that is definitely a positive that comes with that. Don't be surprised if this video is like 6 minutes long. It's not going to be long at all. This was very, and again, for over an hour, 15 minutes of television, it's a very to the point episode, which is kind of crazy if you really look at it. But there you go, guys. I'm out.